So let's enjoy this one, because this is quite a fun road and I can even feel my ears popping a bit. So yeah, we have definitely increased our altitude a bit. Oh, what a nice little rest stop here at the end of the Banghoek Valley, here under a tree. Some old farm buildings also here. But now we are feeling refreshed for the remainder of this dirt road, and I think it's going to remain a bit bumpy and sandy until we connect up now with the tar road, the R399. Just over 8 kilometers to go. But then we should pick up some speed again. So the next waypoint is the interesting town of Goedverwacht. Now there is some interesting history, so I will just talk about it a bit more, of course, once we get to Goedverwacht. Goedverwacht is 26 kilometers from here, so but once we get onto the tar road, it will be a quick transition to Goedverwacht. Okay, so we've now made it to the R399. So this is the road that connects Piketberg to Veldrif. Now Veldrif is of course at the sea, and we're going to make a left-hand turn in the direction Piketberg. But as you know me, I don't usually take the shortest route to places. So we will end up in Piketberg a bit later, but we will take the scenic detour via Piket-Bo-Berg. So let's just make the transition to first the town of Goedverwacht. Here we are passing the Kloof River. I think this is the river that we will cross a little bit later in Goedverwacht, so I might refer back to it, Kloof River. But we have made it now to the turn off to Goedverwacht from the R399. What a beautiful name, don't you think? Goedverwacht. Especially if you do the translation, Goedverwacht is of course Dutch, but directly translated into English it means good expectations. And I think whoever named this town must have been quite a positive person to have good expectations. And yeah, certainly this town has an interesting history. So I suppose it was not the town that was named, it was actually the farm here that was probably Goedverwacht, because this was a cattle farm already since 1810, and there was a very prominent farmer here. His name was Burger, who played an interesting role in the emancipation of slaves. So what happened is, when he aged, he had a slave that was looking after him into his old age, and the slave's name was Manisa, a lady. And Manisa, I suppose must have looked after him very, very well, because when he died, he did the unprecedented thing of letting her inherit the farm. So that was something that was not taken very well by the children, and they tried to fight this in the courts. And they took it to court twice, and twice they lost. So eventually it was settled that Manisa is in fact the owner of Goedverwacht, and she remained the owner until her death in 1888. Not sure when Burger passed away, but Manisa passed away in 1888, and her descendants then decided to sell the farm in 1889 to the Moravian missionaries, and it became a Moravian missionary town. But long before the whole town and area was sold to the Moravian missionaries, the Moravian church was established here, or was built. It was already built in 1849, so the church that we're going to see now is the beautiful Moravian church. But yeah, don't you think it's an interesting story of Manisa? And the Moravian missionaries established quite a few things here in town. I mean, there's a mill, and these days there's also a museum. And yeah, also in the cemetery of Goedverwacht, the grave of Manisa can also be seen apparently. So I find this history interesting. The Goedverwacht is quite a elongated town. You can see we've been riding through Goedverwacht for quite a while now, and we still have not made it to the church. Yeah, all kinds of interesting houses, old houses here. Of course, yeah, it's an old town. It was established long ago. And there are the sports fields, rugby field of Goedverwacht. I think Goedverwacht continues in this valley all around. So yeah, it's really a long, stretched out town. Now some of the buildings are really dilapidated. So, but look at this cash and carry store, a mission store. Yeah, so that must have been the original mission store, beautifully built out of stone. Yeah, and here we are at the turn of the Mill Museum, but also the beautiful, beautiful stone church, the Moravian Mission Church. I think it was built 1849. How beautiful is this? Let's just make a stop here in front of the church. Yeah, we're just doing a bit of a quick leg stretch here at the church of Goedverwacht, the Moravian missionary church. Just look how beautiful. I mean, built from natural stone, and I like the white edging, and also around the trims of the sides of the windows. It reminds me of the church in Piketberg. You will see when we get to Piketberg, the much more grand church has the same features. Beautiful. This was now a pleasant stop here in the shade of the Moravian church in Goedverwacht. But we are continuing. Last look at the church. And I see this wall has been rebuilt. The previous time I was here, this wall was, yeah, has got some damage. Beautifully rebuilt. Yeah, looks wonderful. I think Emil just wants to make a quick stop at the little shop for a cool drink. So we're just going back on this road again, the mission store. Yep, that's a little shop through the window. Okay, gaan jy kyk vir 'n koeldrankie? Gaan jy sommer nou drink? Dan gaan ek ook ietsie drink. So I see there's a sign saying Clock Support. I'm not sure if that is the actual name, but Clock Support is where we make the turn. So this is the river crossing. So now this is a little road about 8.5 kilometers long that will take us up the valley here where Goedverwacht is located, to take us right to the top of Piket-Bo-Berg. So I think this will be the last little bit of dirt road. There will be a bit of dirt road when we get to our place for tonight, but not a lot of dirt roads left for the trip of today. So let's enjoy this one, because this is quite a fun road. Now here you must just keep your eyes open, because it's only a one track lane, so you need to think about cars coming from the front. But there you can see Goedverwacht. Yeah, Goedverwacht is stretching all the way up the valley, so it's coming here around the corner. But this is continuous climbing now. It's a bit of a bumpy track, but you know, it snakes itself through some thick vegetation. This is so much fun. And here there are also some sandy parts. It seems like we cannot get away from the sandy roads in this part of the world. But nothing too hectic. You've got all kinds of conditions on this road. Sand, and now it's the stony stuff. But I've said it before, the Honda CRF 300 Rally is built for these kind of roads, so I think it's taking it in its stride. Now there's some farming activity, it seems, here. Some goats and kraals and so on. But here is the board welcoming us to Piket-Bo-Berg, and I can even feel my ears popping a bit. So yeah, we have definitely increased our altitude a bit. No, but this is just a fun little road. You can see the condition is good. You can pick up a bit of speed, and it is a quiet road, so you can actually enjoy doing it at a little bit faster pace. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. We are at the top, and here we are at the tar road. What a fun little ride that was. That was fun, eh? Okay, that is now the end of fun dirt roads for the moment. Oh, looks like apples on the streets. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of apples turning red. But we are now on top of Piket-Bo-Berg, and because you gain quite a bit of altitude to get to Piket-Bo-Berg, there's a different climate here, and the kind of farming that's done here produces all kinds of delicious fruits. I know pears, apples, persimmons, maybe even some peaches, I'm not sure. But yeah, lots and lots of farms here on Piket-Bo-Berg, but also quite a pleasure to simply ride along a bit on the beautiful roads on Piket-Bo-Berg. And we are now heading in the direction of Piketberg, and to get there you will need to take the main road down from Piket-Bo-Berg, because the little road we came up is definitely a secondary road. So that stop is not for us, it's for the other one. Yeah, that was just a small dirt road up, but the main road up is actually the Versfeld Pass, and that is towards the side of Piketberg itself. There the Swartland is appearing, and of course the Swartland is one of the main and primary wheat production regions in the country. Now it is autumn, so just after summer, but come August, September, this will have the most beautiful colors of green and yellow as the canola starts to come through. And from here you can see, I'm not sure if you can see, but the sweeping bends going down, the hairpin bends of, and well, on the GPS you can see this is the Versfeld Pass for you. I always say the best views you get when you ride down a pass, and it is certainly true for the Versfeld Pass as well. But let's just talk a little bit about history of the Versfeld Pass. It's a bit of quite interesting history. This was not the first pass built up the mountain. John Versfeld was a farmer, I think, on top of Piket-Bo-Berg, and he just wanted to make a better route up, and he built the first pass already in 1889. It was not on this spot, it was a few kilometers further north, but he showed some real dedication in building that pass. He built it in 1889 in 3 months with 16 laborers, and his dedication is coming through when you read the history of this. And it is said that there's only one day that John Versfeld was not on site to supervise and manage the building of that first pass, and that was when his son was born. So all the other times he was actively busy building that pass, and that was the main route up to Piketberg, used for many years. Yeah, this one has got sweeping hairpins. But yeah, then in 1926 that pass was started to be used by motorized vehicles, and then by 1943 it was deemed not safe anymore to use it. It was actually called the Ossewa Pass. So it was a pass originally designed more for ox wagon and so on. And then this pass was built in 1943, and it was tarred in 1958, so it was modernized. It is now a pass that is suitable for heavy vehicles to also come down. You drop down 689 meters from the top to the bottom, so it is quite a significant decline. You can see how fast we are dropping. Now I just, the shape of this pass, how the bends sweep down are some of the most spectacular for me of the passes in the Western Cape. It might not be the longest pass, but it's certainly an absolute joy. Whether you ride it up or down, you can do it. So don't miss the opportunity if you find yourself in this part of the world around Piketberg. But now it's only about 7 kilometers to get to Piketberg. Let's just enjoy the last few turns of the Versfeld Pass. Yeah, so John Versfeld did not build this one, of course. It came much later, but he was still honored. So his dedication in building that first pass is honored by his name being attached even to this newer version. So that is why this one is then called the Versfeld Pass. My ears are opening up again. There's some real altitude differences by coming down this pass. But yeah, Piketberg is quite an old town. It was already established in 1836. So you should expect to see quite a number of older buildings here. So this is also known as the Piketberg here, so it is really nestled here on the foothills of the Piketberg. Now the name Piket is interesting because it actually derives from the French word piquet, and I'm not sure how it got the French name, but piquet means a military post, and certainly long before 1836, even towards the late 1600s, there's indeed been a military post here. But it is only when the church was established here that the town itself really got established also. This church was started to be built already 1833, so even before the town was established, and it was completed in 1836. So that is why it is coinciding with the establishment of Piketberg as a town. And yeah, it was designed by Carl Otto Hager as well, the famous architect that designed so many churches in South Africa. And you will recall that earlier in this video we also stopped at a church that was designed by Carl Otto Hager. That is the church, of course, in Clanwilliam, the flower church. Now that one is much more modest in size, of course. This one is a grand new Gothic church, so beautiful. Just look at it. And yeah, as I mentioned already, this is also resembling, of course, the design a bit of the church in Goedverwacht, where you also have mostly stone and then the white edging on the windows and the edges of the church. Yeah, so here we cross the N7 at quite a big circle, and a important petrol station here next to the N7 highway. But the hop from Piketberg to Porterville is now only 26 kilometers, so it should be a quick hop. We have now made the crossing from Piketberg to the R44. Yeah, just here where it is outside the town of Porterville. Yeah, now you can see the Olifants River Mountains much better. Okay, let's go. So we're just going to make a bit of a ride into Porterville. And it welcomes you here with a lane of eucalyptus trees. Now, you know me, I like the history, and I will certainly tell you a little bit of the history of Porterville. But for Emil and myself, Porterville has a significant personal history as well. We've got a long family link to Porterville. My great-grandmother was born just outside of Porterville in the late 1800s. So yeah, my grandmother stayed in Porterville for a very long time, and both my grandmother, well, my and Emil, for both Emil and myself, our grandmother and our mother was buried from the church here in Porterville, and their ashes are in fact here at the church. And it's at this church where we would just like to make a stop to commemorate them a bit. But yeah, the town of Porterville was established already in 1863, and it was laid out by a man with the name of William Porter, and he was the Attorney General of the Cape. So you will see that Porterville has a very regular grid structure, so he laid it out very well. And this church in Porterville, to me, is a formidable architectural masterpiece. So let's just have a bit of a look. If you just look at it from the front, it is the vertical pillars. It's just magnificent. So let's just make a bit of a stop here in front of the gate. Yeah, so this is already the third church on this site. And what is interesting about this church is that it was designed by the first Afrikaans architect in South Africa with the name of Wynand Louw, and I think it is just, as I said, formidable. It's an architectural masterpiece, I would think. It was built in 1925, so it's just over 100 years old now. So it's not as old as the church, for example, in Piketberg and in Clan William and so on that we saw, but it's got a more modern design, but beautiful, beautiful. It was quite a nice reflective stop for me and Emil. Let's just take a little bit of a ride through the town a bit. Yeah, so you can see the absolute regular grid of the streets. But of course, Porterville is a neat town. It is managed by the Berg River municipality, and that is one of the top municipalities in the country. So both Piketberg and Porterville is managed by the Berg River municipality. So you get very good service from this municipality, and that is why this town is also looking so neat. Okay, so let's head out of town. So we're going to make our way now to my cousin that stays on a farm just 11 kilometers outside of Porterville. So it's on the R44, so we're just going out the same way we came in. So it's about 4 kilometers of tar road, and then another 6 kilometers or so of final dirt roads for the trip for today, to get to a place which is called Die Uilhuisie, or the small owl house. What a cute little name. Okay, so we're making a turn here on the Dusklip Pass road. This is a dirt road that will take us now all along the Olifants River Mountains. Yeah, look how beautiful the Olifants River Mountains are in the late afternoon sunlight. It is now 4:45 in the afternoon, so we had a full day of riding, but still it felt relaxed. It was not a rush, and I think we've seen beautiful places. Yeah. We have now made it to the farm Uitkyk. There you can see some of the farm buildings already. This is the farm of my cousin Leni and her husband Jan Boetske. So Leni has, a few years ago, she has renovated one of the old houses, the small farmers workers houses on the farm, and she names it Die Uilhuisie, and you can book it on Lekkerslaap and on the internet. It's a little cute health catering accommodation unit. So here you can see there's even the telephone numbers and so on there. Self-catering accommodation, Jan and Leni Boetske's Uitkyk. So Uitkyk, of course, is a name that we've seen in the videos yesterday. We've got Uitkyk Pass there with Algeria, as well as the Hoekse Berg Pass, which was previously known as Uitkyk Pass, and now we are on the farm Uitkyk, right here on the outskirts of Porterville and at the foothills of the Olifants River Mountain. What a beautiful setting. Yeah, little farm road in, so got a lot of loose stones. But yeah, we are looking forward to our stay tonight in the Uilhuisie. Leni has made this available to us, so I'm very grateful to her. Thanks, Leni. Yeah, what a friendly reception, of course, with Leni. We're looking forward. We're going to have a great time still tonight, catching up. But Emil and myself are just making our way to the Uilhuisie to go and freshen up a bit. Yeah, it's a rough little road to take up. But how much fun. So there's the little farmer's house. You can see it there in the distance, that Leni has fixed up, and it is quite popular with people. Just look at it. Oh, now we need to go through a bit of water. But all good. Okay, let's have a look inside. Yeah, so we've parked here outside. There's a little stoep area. There's even an outside braai. And then towards that side, there's a nice big dam. And of course, the view over the Swartland from here is absolutely spectacular. As you enter here, there's a small little lounge area. There's a TV and some couches and chairs here in the lounge area. And a small little bathroom. Toilet, bath, and a shower and a wash basin. And then I need to bend down a bit to get through this doorway into the beautiful kitchen area. The gas hob, fully equipped gas hob, as well as wash basin and a fridge. And through here it is the bedroom. Yeah, a double bed with 2 single beds. Yeah, I think we're going to enjoy our night stay here at Die Uilhuisie on Piketberg farm. Nice and cool inside. And through this window there is a bit of a view onto the dam. Yeah, we're going to end the video here. Thank you very much for joining us. This was quite a nice trip today. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And then until tomorrow, when this journey continues, we will depart early here from Piketberg farm and Die Uilhuisie. Keep well and bye-bye.